Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can create menus using Hugo. Let's imagine a situation where you have a very small website and you have a very few pages on your website. Let's say you have 4 or 5 pages, and let's say you want to display maybe some of them or maybe all of your pages in the navigation menu of your website. So we will see in this case how we can achieve this in Hugo. I've created this sample website for the purpose of this tutorial. I've created a sample content for this website, which is now getting displayed on the home page. This content is in the form of a listing, so it is a listing format, and when I click on the link, it will take me to the detail page of the same content. So right now you can see that this is the detail page, and when I click on the home page, it will bring me back to the home page with the listing form of content. So in order for me to display the navigation menu items, I need to create some more content, and after creating more content, I will show you how we can add those pages in the navigation menu item on the header. In order for me to create a new content for my website, I will open my terminal. I will go inside the folder where I created my new website, and then I'm going to use the Hugo new command to create the new content. I will call my new content test page 2.md. Since all the content that we create in Hugo is always in the markdown format, so that's why we always have to use .md. When I do this, it says my new content is now created. I will open my text editor, and I will see that this test page 2.md, which is a markdown file, which is now created for me, and I can start adding some content. So for this tutorial, I'm going to just copy and paste the content from my previous page that I created, and I'm going to paste that here. And from the previous page, I'm going to use the same title as well. I will just change the title little bit. I will go here, change the title, and the title says this is the title for the page 2. I will save this. I will go back to my terminal, and I will run the Hugo server command, and since the content is a draft, so I have to use -d, and I hit enter. I will go back to my browser, and when I refresh the page, you see that the new content is now being shown. So this was my old content, which is the title for the test page 1. This is the title for the test page 2. Both the pages have the same content. So far I have 2 pages of content. For this tutorial, let's say we want 4 pages, and then we want to display all those 4 pages in the navigation menu. I will follow the same steps that I showed in the video before to create the new content, and I'm going to pause the video here, and I'm going to create 2 more pages of content, and I'll come back. I have added some more content on the website, and now we are ready to add the pages in the navigation menu. In order for us to add the page to a navigation menu, we have to edit the front matter of the content file first. And on a new line, we have to define the menu. We have to give the menu a name. So the first step in the menu creation process is to define the menu first. And the menu is always defined in the front matter. And front matter is something that is always created every time you create a content file. So let's say I created this content file, and you will see that this is the meta information that is always created by default every time you create a content file. It contains the title for the content, it contains the date and the time when your content was created, and whether or not your content is a draft. So we will go into a new line. In order for me to display this page or this content in the menu, I have to define the menu here, and I will call it menu, and I will call it main menu. You can name the menu whatever you want, but in this specific case, I am calling this menu as the main menu. So as you can see, I edited the front matter, and I went to a new line, and I defined my menu. I gave my menu a name called main menu. The second step is to create a partial file called nav.html in our partials directory inside our themes. So after defining my menu, now I will go inside my text editor, and I will go inside the themes folder. For this tutorial, I am using a custom theme, so I have my layouts folder. You go inside the layouts, and then create a partial file called nav.html, and I will put in one piece of code here. So this code, what exactly is it doing is, I will zoom in. So it is creating a list of all the menu items. What this code is doing is basically going through and looping through all the menu items that are present, and then it will display them in a listing format. So this is what this code is doing. So copy and paste this code, or write down the code in your nav.html file, which is located in the partials directory of your theme. So the next step after creating the partial file is to go to the template location where I want my menu to be displayed. In my case, I want my menu to be displayed on the header. So I'm going to go on the header file, and I'm going to include this partial, this nav partial. So I will include it in the way like how it is shown on the screen in the double curly braces. This is the syntax that we use in Hugo to include any kind of a partial file. Now I'm going to go on my text editor. I will go on my header file. Basically, I want my menu to be included in the header somewhere over here. So I'm going to find the header file, which is again in the partials in my themes directory. So in my themes directory, I will go inside the partials. So my header is also a partial, and I have already created this nav tag with the class of header menu, and I'm going to include my partial, which is the nav.html, and I'm going to include the partial like this inside the double curly braces, partial nav, and there is a dot. So dot defines the scope of this. So I save this, and after saving this, if I go to the website, I will see that my very first menu item now appears. So this is the menu item that we actually defined in test page 1, and we called it menu and then main menu. So it is and this nav.html, this partial file, what it is doing is it is going and looking for the main menu item and saying Hugo is looking for all the items that are present inside the main menu, looping through them and then displaying them in the partial inside the header. So this is what this code is doing. I have already added my styles, so my menu is going to my menu is looking a little nicer right now. It is because my styles are on place. If I have to add the other pages on the menu, all the like the test page 2 or the test page 3, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on the test page 2 and I'm going to add a new line called menu, and I will name the same main menu. I will save it, and when I go back, I have the title for my test page 2. I will do the same thing for the test page 3. I will go here, go to a new line called menu, and I will call it main menu. And when I do this, I have the title for my test page 3. So this is all working fine, but there is a problem. And the problem is, instead of printing the, like, I don't want my menu to be displayed like this because it is printing out the complete title as a menu item. This is not what I want. As you can see here, this is the title for the test page 3. This is the title, and this is the same title that it is getting displayed here. This is the title, and this is the same title that gets displayed here. So I don't want this. I want my menu names or the menu items to have a customized name. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on, let's say, the very first page, test page 1, and instead of defining the menu like this, it is the menu and then main menu, I'm going to remove this part, go on the next line, put a tab, call it main menu, which is the name of my menu, put a colon again, put a tab again, and call it name, and I can call it whatever I want. In this page, for this tutorial, I'm going to be very simple, and I'm going to call it page 1. I save it, and when I go back, I see that this menu name is now changed. So instead of this big title, it just displays the customized name. I can name it whatever I want inside the name property here. So I'm going to change the name for page 2 and page 3 as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this part, go on the next line, put a tab, call it main menu, put a colon, tab again, name, and I will call it, let's say, page 2. Save it, and there you have it. So you have the page 1, you have the page 2. The same thing I can do it for the page 3 and page 4. So I can remove this, go to the next line, tab, main menu, put a colon, tab, name, and I will call it page 3. So until now, we learned how we can create the menu items and how we can display them on a Hugo website. We also learned how we can customize the name of the menu items and display them on a certain part of a website like header. In our case, we used header to display the menu items, but you can use the same logic or a similar logic to display the menu either on a sidebar or on the footer or any other part of your website you want to display them. So creating the menu items like this is a very easy thing, and it is a very simple process, and it's an ideal process if you have a static website and if you have a very small website that contains only a few pages. But if you have a larger website which contains a lot of different sections and you have multiple content inside each and every single section, then it's going to be a very tedious kind of a process. So in the next part of the video, I'm going to deal with this kind of a problem and show you how you can display the menu items if you have multiple sections and multiple content inside each section. In this part of the video, I'm going to show you how you can display the menu items when you have a bigger website with multiple sections. Let's consider a situation where we have multiple sections like articles, pages, products, recipes, and tutorials, and every section contains a lot of different items, a lot of different content files. Now we are going to see how we can display them in the menu bar. So I have created this sample website in Hugo. This website I have created like multiple different sections, and I have added some content inside every single section. I will take you to my text editor to show how it looks. So this is my text editor. As you can see, this is my content folder, and inside my content folder I have 5 sections. I have articles, I have pages, I have products, recipes, and tutorials, and I have added some sample content inside each and every single section. So I will take you to one of the sample contents that I have, and here you can see that I have not added any of these into, like, I haven't defined any of the menu items inside the front matter of these content files. So I just have the 5 different sections called articles, pages, products, recipes, and tutorials. So if I go back to my website, and let's say if I want to see all the articles, I will type /articles. So I have a listing of all my articles, /recipes, I have a listing of all my recipes, and tutorials, and I have tutorials, and I have a listing of all my tutorials here. If I go back to my home page, it is it is displaying all the content that belongs to all the different sections in a form of a list, in a listing format. So what I want is, I would like my navigation menu item to be displayed in the header, and in my navigation items I want the name of my sections. So I want articles, I want pages, products, recipes, and tutorials all here. So if I click on any one of them, it takes me directly to that particular section. So in order to do that, all I have to do is I go to my text editor, and inside every Hugo project, like every time you create a Hugo site, it comes with a config file. So you go to that config file, and in this case it is config.toml. Go inside that file and add this line of code which says section pages menu equals main menu. Main menu is the name of the menu that I am using for my particular website, but you can name your menu whatever you want. So you can just define the name of the menu here. Section pages menu is the main menu, but just by adding this main menu is not going to make the menu display on your website. All you have to do is you have to again go inside, for example, your themes, inside the layouts, inside the partials, and you have to create a partial called nav.html, and you have to use the same menu name. In this case, main menu, you have to use the same menu name that you want to display. So in my config.toml file, I am defining my menu as main menu, and I am using the same menu name inside my navigation menu item. Basically, this piece of code is telling Hugo to loop through all the main menu items and display them in a listing format. So this is a partial for the navigation that I created, and I'm including this partial in the header since I want to display my menu in the header. So here I am including the partial for navigation, and I am wrapping it with the nav tags. So I also have my styles in place and everything is in place. Now the only thing that I have to do is to add this, which is section pages menu as the main menu, and save it. And after saving this, when you go back to your website, you will see that all the sections of your website will now start appearing here. So you have articles, pages, products, recipes, and tutorials. When you click on articles, pages, products, recipes, and tutorials, everything is appearing as it should. Now when you go back to the home page, you have all the listing items displaying here. Now you can have a case where you can have certain kind of a content that does not belong to any of these sections. So I created a file called test.md which does not belong to any of these sections, and it is a direct child of the content inside the content folder. So it's a markdown file, and I want this file to be displayed, but since this file does not belong to any of the section and this file is not getting displayed here, it just displays the name of the folders or the name of the sections inside the content folder. So in order to display this file, let's say for example I would like to, let's say this is the about file, about.md, about markdown file for your website, and you want to display display it on your header, and you want to call it about. So all I have to do is I have to define menu and call it main menu. Main menu is the menu that I am using for my website. For you, you can have a different kind of a name. The only thing that you have to make sure is whatever the menu name that you choose, you have to use the same menu name inside the nav.html in here, inside main menu. So inside the test.md file, I created menu and then main menu, and when I save it, you will see that now this item starts appearing here, but it is called test page 1. And the reason it is called test page 1 is because it pulls down the title and it starts displaying the name of the title. So here the title is called test page 1, so that is why it is called test page 1 here. But now you also know how you can customize your menu names. So in order to do that, go to the next line and called main menu, tab, put a name, and let's say I want to call it about. And when I save it, you go back and you have the about page now listed here. When you go to articles, you have a listing of all the articles here. Pages, listing of all the pages, products, recipes, and tutorials. You see, and now you also know how you can add a specific file which directly belongs to the content folder and does not belong to any section to be displayed in the navigation menu item. We just learned how we can display the name of all the sections as the menu items inside the main navigation menu in a Hugo website. But let's say there is a situation where I don't want to display all the sections by default. By default, I would like to display, let's say, only 2 or 3 sections, but not all of them. And what if I want to display a home page link also, and I would also like to display an about page and something else? So what I am talking about is a complete custom menu for my site. How do I achieve a complete custom for menu for my site? This is what I am going to discuss in this part of the video. So I have a sample website again. I have multiple different sections on this website, and I have different types of content inside each and every section. But instead of displaying the sections by default, I would like to just display 2 of the sections. And I would also like to display a home page link and an about link. This is the only things I would like to have in my personal navigation menu for this particular site. So how do I do that? I'll go to my text editor. I will go inside my config file. As I told, all the Hugo projects, they have a config.toml file. Go inside the config file and paste this piece of code. So here what I'm doing is I'm defining my menu here, and inside the menu, this is the first menu item that I'm like, okay, inside the menu, this is the main menu, and I'm calling this the main menu. And I have an identifier. This is like identifier is home the name is home, and the name is the name that will be displayed in the navigation menu, and the URL is slash. So the slash means it is the home page. So you don't have to put the absolute URLs, you have to put the relative URLs here. And the weight I have set to 1. So once I do that, I also have my in the themes folder, in the layouts, in the partials, I have my nav.html, the same partial file, and I also have the partial file being displayed in the header with all my styles perfectly fine. Once I copy this code, and once I save this and I go back to my site, and I have the home page link. So when I click, it takes me to the home page directly. Now let's say I would also like to add the articles. So I copy this thing, and I will call identifier articles, and the name that I want to be displayed there on the main navigation menu item, articles, and the weight I will set 2. So when I save this, second, so you see that the articles, it starts appearing here, but when I click on articles, it's not going to articles because I have to specify the URL. It should be slash articles slash, and save it. Now when I click on articles, it is taking me to a listing of all the articles. Now let's say I will copy the same thing all over again, and I would like to have the recipes displayed there. Recipes, and recipes, and the weight I would set it to 3, so it will start appearing in the 3rd position there. So you see home, articles, and recipes here. So that's all perfectly fine. All the 3 items are getting displayed. I have the home link, I have a link to one of the sections, I have the link to another section, and also I would like to have my about page displayed here. So if I go back to my project, I see that I have a page called test page 1. This is the test page 1, test page 2, which are like the direct children of inside the content folder. So what I can do is I will go to my config file again. I will copy this piece of code and paste it, and identifier I will call it about, and the name I will call it about. The name is what is going to appear on the main navigation menu. The URL I will call it, instead of like slash recipes, I will call it slash test page 1. So I will call slash test page 1, and the weight is going to be 4. And when I save this, you have the about link getting displayed here. When you click here, you come to this page, you have the recipes, you have the articles, you have the home. So this is how we set up the menus in Hugo. We saw like how we can set up the menus for the simple inside the content files, defining the menu inside the front matter. We also saw how we can define the section pages menu, and also we defined a complete custom menu inside inside the config.toml file like this. So thanks for watching this video, and if you have any questions or any comments, please mention it in the comments below, and that's it. Thanks for watching.